5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
And with that, I am your host, Shane Beauregard, coming at you with all your news, reviews, and previews on to watch on your streaming services, your television, and your movie theater. I hope everyone's had a great Thanksgiving. It was enjoyable, but as always, it went too fast. I personally am not a big Thanksgiving guy. I'm sorry, I'd never been. Honestly, my favorite days were the day before Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving. I just like the chill atmosphere in the air the day before, and I like the total doing nothing the day after and doing some online shopping. So, and now we're into Christmas, so now you can officially watch all those Christmas movies. My kids didn't obey or abide by my laws. They watched the Christmas Chronicles 2. I kind of was in and out, so I only saw bits and parts of it. But my daughter liked it better than the first one, if you want an opinion, a child's opinion. So now we can focus on Christmas. And I will say, my kids and wife will counter this. I am still, for the most part, a Grinch. Okay, I will give you that. But I'm not as much as a Grinch as I used to be. I do kind of enjoy, again, the atmosphere in the air, the vibe between December 1st and actually Christmas. So it is sad because the thing I look forward to most on Christmas is my wife, for the past 4 years, she goes to the local bagel shop here, and we get bagels for breakfast. And it's a wonderful morning in my pajamas, drinking coffee, eating bagels. And you're like, Shane, really? Bagels? But listen, folks, I honestly, sincerely only eat bagels 2 times a year. So it's sad. Most of you probably think it's a sad way to live your life. And you're probably right. But I just don't go down that slippery slope, and it's something that I really look forward to, which I think makes it even more enjoyable. So I'm ready for my bagels. The best part of my weekend, and I did keep up my holiday tradition of going to the movie theater on Thanksgiving night. I'll get into more on that in a little bit. But before Black Friday, before Thanksgiving, I went to Costco, and I deemed myself mentally unfit to go to Costco anymore, or at least until the holiday season is over. Because when you're my size and you're just looking for someone to say something to you, you're not in a good headspace. And I just found myself openly talking to people that weekend at Costco, just waiting for someone to say something to me. It would have been bad. So I stepped away, and I tried to order my Costco order online, and it was so relaxing and so perfect. It got delivered to my house literally 4 hours later. It was awesome. Sure, I had to pay a little extra for it, but to avoid the people, the parking, and the situation where I might be in jail, well worth the extra $8 to $10 I spent. So that was probably the best part of my weekend. And you're like, Shane, all right, stop rambling on already. But I just wanted to report that. I'm keeping you abreast of what's going on. So not a ton of news. I'm not going to go into a bunch of stuff here. My family is going to go to the theater this week to see The Croods 2. I'm not going to go because, one, I really enjoyed the first Croods movie. But the second one looks okay in the cost of going to the movie theater. I don't think they need to waste that extra money on me going. So they're going to go this week. I'll get their opinion on it, and I'll probably end up watching it when it comes to Netflix or Amazon Prime. Other than that, the only other news I have involve, well, one, I think I mentioned this last week. Wonder Woman is going to be released on HBO Max and in the movie theaters at the same time. I'll be going on Christmas Day to see Wonder Woman. That's probably the next movie I'll see because there's really nothing coming down the pike here. But the news I do have involves nudity. Shocker. J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez. She is stunning. Apparently, she released a new album. They still do that. And it only made headlines because she was naked on this album. Of course, she's contorted where you can't see anything. Fine. That lady gets better with age. I would never used to be a big J-Lo fan until she's gotten older. Oh, my God. Yeah, she would get it. She wouldn't get it for long, but I'd give it a go. And Dolly Parton, who has a Netflix special coming out here pretty soon, she said that she wants, if she's asked, that she would be on the cover of Playboy and be in Playboy because she's now 75. I thought she was older than that. Yeah. Is it sick that I didn't know they still made that magazine. Like, I don't know if it's like a digital copy, like you got to go online, or you can actually, there's a place where you can buy them. That's a serious question, folks. The follow-up to that is I would buy a magazine with Dolly Parton on it. I don't care that she's 75. I'm more curious than anything at this point. A lot of photoshopping because she's 75. Listen, I know her boobs are like 30 years old, so they look younger than the rest of her body. That being said, the curiosity would get me. I would have to somehow get a peek at that. So, yeah, that's really all the news I have. Yeah, that's all the news I really have for you. My wife's been watching Schitt's Creek, the final season. Now, this is a random story, so bear with me, people. It's a pretty sharp and witty show. But I feel like they threw away a joke that maybe a handful of people got. Like, seriously, there was an episode where it was Mara's... They were celebrating her film getting released, and the room was filled with flowers. And they weren't for her, they were for the daughter. And Mara's like, except for that one, that was sent to me by Joyce DeWitt. And I started laughing out loud. And my wife's like, how is that funny? What is that? She goes, she just made a Three's Company reference. Like, no one... I doubt but a handful of people got that because Joyce DeWitt's character, Janet, in Three's Company was a florist. So, I know, I just did... I don't know. Who's that comedian that had that show? No, never mind. I'm not going to get into that. But I was pretty proud of myself I caught that. So, I just giving myself on a pat on the back here, people. So, bear with me. I did end up watching over this long holiday weekend. I went back and watched a lot of the Avenger movies. One, because I really haven't rewatched them in a while. I will say, like, Age of Ultron, the first one, and I ended up watching, because I watched those two, I just went ahead and watched Infinity War and Endgame. Now, I'm not going to go into it, but I will say, yes, Ultron is the worst of the Avengers movies. I'm not here to defend Ultron, but I will say it's not as bad as I remembered it being, except for that whole cabin scene with Hawkeye's family and Thor storylines all fucked up. But they did lay a lot of groundwork and foreshadowing into future movies. So, as much as we complain about that movie, and there were still some really good action scenes in that movie, but when you compare it to the other ones, yeah, it is the last in that order. I know some people were putting Endgame there, but I'm not. I still enjoyed Endgame. I probably rewatched that for the first time since probably it got released on DVD. So, that was a while ago. Yes, long in the tooth, but well worth it for me. But anyway, Age of Ultron, I'm here to say, a little underrated. It's a little underrated. Other than that, I noticed, another random bit of news, and my wife started watching Gilmore Girls. I never did. That's on like regular TV, right? So I'm sitting there on the couch, and all of a sudden I hear the Netflix jingle pop up. I'm like, nah, this is on Hulu. Like, there's no way. Yeah, so apparently I forgot, and this is the first time I've really noticed this. If there is a Netflix show that they got the rights to, like Gilmore Girls, and if it's on a different station, before the show starts, they play the Netflix jingle. I don't know. That kind of blew my mind that night. I had no idea they did that. So, and I will say, I'm going to go over what's coming up on Netflix a little bit in December here. I finally downloaded Netflix on my phone. Not to watch movies because I refuse to watch it on a little screen. But I have noticed that you get more notifications of what's coming up and what's coming on Netflix than you do if you try to search on the actual laptop or TV Netflix version. I just find it it's more user-friendly, I should say. So, based off of that, you have Season 4 or Season 3, wherever we're at. The new season of Big Mouth is coming out this Friday. I am super excited. I haven't heard it coming out, and I found it popped up on my phone. So, there you go. I'm a huge Big Mouth fan. I know they switched some of the voice actors because of the whole I'm white and I feel bad voicing this African-American character. Whatever, Jenny Slater, go take a hike. I'm still looking forward to that show. I hope it lives up to the previous seasons. That show was spot on. You also have Mank with Gary Oldman coming out this week. Ava with Jessica Chastain, where she plays an assassin. I'm all in on that one. That comes out on the 7th. What comes out tomorrow is the holiday movies that made us. And I love that series, but this one I'm like, yeah, okay. I've seen Elf like 100 times. I don't know. I don't know if I want to know the insides and outs of that. So I don't know why that got jumbled in my mouth, but it did. Midnight Sky with George Clooney comes out later this year, and then a bunch of Christmas movies. I think they're trying to compete with Hallmark at this point. So I didn't write any of them down because I don't watch those Hallmark movies. I feel like now, like, Hallmark movies, Christmas movies are a thing. It's like you either love them or you secretly, well, one, you love them or you just love to hate on them, just to hate on them. You know what I mean? Because if you hate them, you're not going to watch them, all right? You just don't like the premise of them. So I just think you're just hating for the sake of hating. I don't watch them at all. Neither does my VP, thank God. So it looks like Netflix is really trying to go toe-to-toe here with the Hallmark Christmas season. So outside of that, me and the VP ended up watching the new Kevin Hart stand-up special, Zero Give Fucks, or I Give Zero Fucks, whatever it's called. And listen, I will defend Kevin Hart. I like Kevin Hart. But unfortunately, I think his best stand-up days are behind him. And again, I hate to say that because I love stand-up. That's my favorite form of comedy because it's the hardest form of comedy. I love the way some comedians just can break me down. So they should have titled it like Kevin Hart Telling Stories because that's what it felt like to me. There were a couple haha jokes, but a lot of it was just him kind of giving his opinion on stuff and telling stories without an actual real punchline. You know, it's still enjoyable to listen to, like still a good guy to listen to, you know, but a little disappointed. So if you want some really good Kevin Hart stand-up, go to Netflix and watch his first two. Especially his first one. To me, that's his, I hate to say he peaked at his first one, but that definitely was his peak, was that. So, if you're a Kevin Hart fan, you'll enjoy it even if you don't get a ton of laughs. Again, I was a little disappointed. So, what I ended up watching, believe it or not, was on Amazon Prime. It was a Sunday. I watched the first episode, and I was like, that's okay. And then, like, an hour later, I went back to it because it was a Sunday, and I'm a Jets fan, and they just killed the football life out of me. And it's been that way since like week 3. So Sundays have been abnormal for me around here. That show is Truth Seekers with Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. And Malcolm McDowell, I should add, Malcolm McDowell's in it as well. And it's right now it's 76% critic score with an 87% audience score. It's a quick watch. It's 7 episodes. It's about 25 minutes per episode. And it took about 2 episodes for me to get hooked into this thing. And I was like, I just can't stop watching this. And there's like, it's one of those shows where like, yeah, it's okay. But it grabs you for some reason every episode. And basically, it's about like a part-time IT. Nick Frost installs Wi-Fi and makes sure all of people's connections are good out in England. But his side job is he has a paranormal channel on YouTube. He has a new partner, and I wrote his name down here, Samson Kao, whose name is Elton John in this show. And it is a good laugh, and they go back to that several times. So that is actually a key. That is actually a key point in the story is his name. So he gets assigned his new partner, and just all the supernatural stuff starts happening. And his YouTube channel is gaining popularity. But there's a story under there on why everything is happening the way they're happening and events are unfolding. So as the episodes carry on, you're realizing what the main storyline is here. And I thought it was clever. Simon Pegg plays the boss, so he's like in charge of like Verizon Wi-Fi section. So, and he has a very small part up until like the last 2 episodes. And I will say, if you're going into this show thinking you're going to get like laugh out loud, typical Simon Pegg, Nick Frost collaborations, it's really not. Not to say that it's not funny. It is witty and is sharply written with very like minimal laughs, but still with some real tense, kind of scary moments because they do take the paranormal point pretty serious. So there are some tense moments in this show. But I would say who steals every scene he's in is Malcolm McDowell. He plays Nick Frost's father. He lives with him. Nick Frost, I would say his wife dies. That's also a key component in the storyline. And I just love how everything comes together. I love the scares mixed with the witty writing and the laughs that you get. I guess it's more dry humor than anything else. But Malcolm McDowell, I don't even know how old that guy is at this point. But man, he is funny. Again, he steals every scene he's in. I wish he was in it just a little bit more. And I will say, it's one of those fucking shows, though, that they better have a second season. They better have a second season because they ended on a huge cliffhanger. So all in all, I got through it in the span of like 3.5 hours. I recommend it if you're a fan of these guys. I go higher than the critics. I'm right where the audience is. I'm going to give The True Seekers a 4.0 out of 5. You can find that right now on Amazon Prime. Oh, man. Okay, so typical Shane fashion. My notes are all over the place, so my segments are going to be all over the place. Before I get into my last review, okay? Bear with me, people. If you've been listening to me for a while, this happens from time to time. Let's go back to the top 10 streaming shows on Netflix and movies right now. Number 10, you have Benedict Cumberbatch's The Grinch. Number 9, The Christmas Chronicles 1. Number 8, the Netflix original movie Hard Kill. Number 7, you have Jim Carrey's The Grinch. Number 6, you have Hillbilly Elegy. I think I pronounced that right. Number 5, you have the Netflix original The Beast. Number 4 is Netflix original series The Crown. Number 3, the Netflix original series The Queen's Gambit. Number 2, The Christmas Chronicles 2. And number 1, the Netflix show Virgin River. Never heard of it. Never heard of it, but season 2 already. Now, let's get into the top 5 box office for this past weekend. Number 5, Come Play, bringing in $373,000. Number 4, Let Him Go, $453,000. Number 3, War of Grandpa. That seems to be in the top 5 for the last 12 weeks. Bringing in $585,000. Number 2, Freaky, bringing in $799,000. And number 1, which is probably the highest box office total I've seen since COVID, is The Croods 2, bringing in $9.7 million. You can always rely on the family films, people. The movie I decided to see was Fat Man. If you're wondering, that finished 16th in the box office, bringing in $27,000. So that is the movie I saw on Thanksgiving night. And basically this movie, I'll tell you right off the bat, sitting at 44% critic score, but it has an 81% audience score. And Mr. Argue Myself, Chris Riddell, did let me in that this was streaming. I could have just sat home and watched this. But I'm not saying you need to see this type of movie in the theater, because you certainly do not. You could actually sit in your home and watch this movie, but it's tradition. I have to go to the movies. And I was the only one there. It was awesome. Because the showings here, they only have during Thanksgiving Day, they had one screening a day. And this is a locally owned theater. It's not part of a chain. So I know it's not much help. I realize that. But I figured if I'm going to go support something, I'm going to support a local, non-chain theater, not a Cinemark, not a Regal, not an AMC. So that's what I went and did. And I liked this movie more than I should have. I'll be honest with you. The quick write-up on IMDb, and I only took 2 sentences out of this just to give you a ballpark on where this thing's at. To save his declining business, he is forced into a military contract while being chased by an assassin sent by a 12-year-old boy who got a piece of coal on Christmas morning. That's pretty much the movie in a nutshell. Now, this movie obviously stars Mel Gibson, and I know he still leaves a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. I realize that, and part of me felt a little dirty going to this movie. It has Walton Goggins in it and Marianne Jean-Baptiste, and the 12-year-old is played by Chance Hurtsfield. So pretty much Mel Gibson plays Kris Kringle, and it is true. This is a different take on Santa Claus. I kind of liked it. They don't go into a whole lot of mythos on why he's in Alaska and why his business is declining. I like some of the themes they played with. They do go into the commercialization of Christmas, how since they're declining and he's not doing as well as they used to be, his stuff should have been trademarked because, his face and symbol sells Coca-Colas and sweatshirts and all kinds of stuff that he doesn't get a cent from. Played by Marianne Jean-Baptiste. Plays his wife Ruth and tells her that's not the spirit. That's not why we got into this. We're here to spread joy. But as he's driving to town once in a while, he'll turn on the radio and it's all these despicable things kids are doing. So they're losing faith. Hence, he's delivering more coal than presents and joy. So he's an angry Santa. Not like bad Santa. He's just a mad, upset person. So if you like your Santa to be an NRA member, gun-toting, shooting his guns in his private time, driving a Ford F-150 pickup truck. This is your guy, okay? And he does have elves. They won't reveal to like the very end of the movie. Whatever. That part's irrelevant. I don't even know why I brought that up. But I do like the angrier Santa Claus driving a pickup truck, which is surprising because you know how I feel about pickup trucks. But yes, he does have a naughty list. He does have a nice list. And he ends up giving a piece of coal, like I said, to this kid, 12-year-old brat, who's spoiled rich. We never see his parents because his father's off doing business. He lives with his grandmother. His grandmother has this big estate. So he's his own little spoiled brat. And there's some things he does at the beginning of the movie. You're like, oh, shit, he's just a bad kid. He's a terrible kid. Like, he does something to his classmate. He tries to do something to his grandmother later. So when he gets his piece of coal, he contacts Walton Goggins, who is a collector of items made by Santa Claus. So this is a world where everyone knows Santa Claus actually exists, okay? So these guys or people go up to Walton Goggins and they sell him like items made from the workshop. And they do give Walton Goggins a little bit of a backstory. He just was raised by shitty parents. He never got anything for Christmas except for one thing, which he always carries with him. So in between his collecting these items, he goes out on several hits for anyone who wants to hire him. So this kid calls him up and says, hey, I want you to take out the fat man. So that's what sends Walton Goggins on his collision course with Mel Gibson. And it is a satisfying ending, though there is a part that made me kind of shake my head because, again, in this movie version, Santa Claus has Wolverine-like a healing factor. Again, I think he's part magical, so I'm thinking, okay, it's Santa Claus. All right. But I do like that end showdown. And to get into, and I'm all over the place here, yeah, to save his business, he gets contacted by the military. He doesn't want to take the contract, but it'll save his business for the next 2 or 3 years. So for 2 months out of the year, him and his elves are making these parts for these fighter jets for the military. So that's what they're doing. So while that's going on, this is when Walton Goggins, one, tries to track him down and find him because no one knows his real location because everyone in town just knows him as Chris. Because he's not like an ultra fat Santa Claus. He's more like between the fat Santa Claus and the Kurt Russell Santa Claus. Okay, so picture that. But a lot gruffier looking, like the guy at the end of your local bar. That's what this Santa Claus looks like. Again, I like a lot of the themes they put up in here. I didn't mind. They didn't really go deep into the mythos of this particular Santa Claus. Again, they gave enough backstory to that little shit kid and Walton Goggins, who I always love on screen. Granted, this wasn't his best performance. It was like a standard, hey, I'm here to do this movie. Let's get it done kind of Walton Goggins performance. And that is even still, that's good. That's good enough for me. So I enjoyed this movie. If it was on TV every year, like once it gets released, and I would probably watch it once a year, to be quite honest with you. I don't need to see a sequel. I don't think there will be a sequel. So I disagree with the critics on this one. And the kid does get his at the end, but not in the way you think. So didn't totally spoil it. I just don't want you to think I forgot about that kid because there is a nice scene towards the end of the movie. And you really root for this kid for something fucking terrible to happen to this kid because he's just a mean shit. So that actor, Chance Hurstfield, did a good job playing his character. So all in all, very satisfying time in the movie theater. I don't agree with the critics on this one, but I don't agree with the audience in this one as well. I'm nudging this one just past passable. So 2.75 for me out of 5. Nothing you need to rush to the movies to see, but a nice little twist on a Christmas movie, and it's something a little different this year as far as Christmas holiday movies that I was used to. And I enjoyed the atmosphere. So 2.75 out of 5 for me for Fat Man. And that's it, folks. That's all I have for you this week. I hope everyone has a great first week in December on our march to Christmas and a march to Bagel Day. Until then, go check me on the Facebooks, Media Mosh. Go check me out on the Twitterverse, at Shane Media Mosh. And more importantly, go to the Apple Podcast or download me, share me. It's Christmas time, folks. Let me into your friend's life. It might be the best or worst present they've ever gotten. So I'll let you decide on that. And then circle the wagons and go check out Mr. Argue myself, Chris Riddell, on all 3 platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. 3 different platforms for 3 different types of content. Until then, folks, get caught up in the mosh.